Donald Trump has authorized federal takeover of the police in the nation's capital, as well as the implementation of the National Guard and various three-letter agencies to DC to address what he calls an epidemic of
from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse.
sparking outrage across the country, raising numerous questions in terms of, is this even legal? Is there an actual crime problem happening in DC that requires federal intervention? What is going to be happening next as Trump threatens to expand this to other Democratic cities?
Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is?
To answer the first question, is this legal? The answer is yes. According to the Home Rule Act, he can use the DC police for federal purposes if he determines that there are special conditions of an emergency nature. He can use the DC police for up to 48 hours or for up to 30 days if he sends a message to certain congressional committees. To use it for longer than that, he would need authorization from Congress. Now, the issue is that the District of Columbia Attorney General Brian Schwab said that there is no crime emergency in the district that would justify such a takeover, and that violent crime in the district is actually at a 30-year low. Taking a look at crimecars.dc.gov, which is a website made by the Metro DC Police, using their data directly, all crimes across the city year to date, so going back to August of last year, are down by about 1,350. And this is the case for the cities that Donald Trump wants to expand this to. If you take a look at New York, if you take a look at Chicago, Baltimore, all reporting, I believe Los Angeles as well, all reporting decreases in crime. Trump's takeover comes a few days after a former Doge staffer by the name of Big Balls, yes, that is his name is Big Balls, he was apparently assaulted during an attempted carjacking by two teenagers in apparently what is a more affluent neighborhood in Washington, D.C. So Trump did use that as a opportunity, really cracking the whip in terms of the law and order candidate, blah, 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 blah. Now, moving on to the next question. So we've already addressed, is this legal? Yes. Is there a crime epidemic happening in D.C.? No. Can he do this in other cities? Now, the president has more authorization of the National Guard in DC than he does in the 50 states, as we saw in California when Trump did send the National Guard to Los Angeles to deal with the ICE protests. They're actually still fighting that battle in court in terms of the legality of that action. The Trump administration is currently on trial in Los Angeles over its deployment of the California Guard in June to quell immigration-related protests in that city. That trial will test whether a federal judge believes Trump's deployment ran afoul of that 1878 law and must be rescinded. The 1878 law they're referring to is the Posse Comitatus Act. Bars the use of the U.S. military for civilian law enforcement except when authorized by the Constitution. What are the residents of D.C. saying?
Saw a number of masked men, clearly working for ICE, a small number of protesters, a lot of lights, a lot of cars just stopped in the road. My instinct, negative, right? Get out of the city. Crime is down. This is a power grab.
A lot of the police were covering their faces, I think, is like part of intimidation, which I was upset to see that happening right close to my home.
From where I live, I can see like the street, and I saw like a group of police officers and National Guard just walking, like they were all walking together though, but they were walking on the sidewalk.
Crime is not unknown in this area. The next block over, the 1400 dock of T Street, has been the site of several shootings in recent years. Checkpoint here is not related to any actual public safety concern.
It's really upsetting to see that how politicized this has become, and the militarization of DC. I mean, that's the basic tenet of our system, is that the military is not supposed to be used as a police force, and I feel very angry that the president has chosen to do that in DC.
It's concerning. I know that they're supposed to be there for safety reasons, as is said, to reduce the level of crime, but I feel like it's infringing on just the people who live here and their personal safety, whether they're being questioned for just being in the neighborhood, I don't think it's fair.
Many residents of the city's neighborhoods say they have yet seen the result of Trump's surge in the places it is needed the most. Charles Wilson, who is a resident of DC's Ward 8, has endured several shootouts in which bullets struck houses, cars, and even lodged in children's bedrooms in recent years, but there hasn't been any evidence to suggest that the National Guard is there to assist in those kinds of areas. So far, he said, nothing is new. I don't see anything different. Another resident, Tina Harris, said that I don't see anything being done here. I think it's clearly a diversion from the real issues. Now, if Donald Trump truly is the law and order president, which why would you not go to the actual crime-ridden areas in D.C.? If this is truly about addressing the lawlessness and the rampant crime happening in our nation's cities, why isn't Trump going into places like New Mexico, who also has a very high crime rate, or Louisiana, famous for being a very high crime state as well? I would have to guess, I could be very wrong, that has to do with the fact that those are Republican states, and seeing directly boots on the ground in front of you enforcing cracking the whip, so to speak, would alienate him further from his base. What would the assistance look like in terms of the National Guard helping out local law enforcement? And it's primarily appears to be just forcing homeless people to either relocate or go to jail. There are plenty of videos out of them dismantling homeless encampments. This sounds like a sentence out of the Hunger Games. Last weekend, Trump ordered the district's homeless residents to leave or face forcible relocation after his motorcade passed a handful of unhoused people en route to his golf course outside the city. How dystopian that sentence itself just sounds, because the President of the United States, on his way to his personal golf course, ordered homeless people to leave, just leave. He didn't order them to build some housing for the homeless people, to find some sheltering for these homeless people, some job reallocation, nothing like that. Just to have them leave or face forcible relocation because it was an eyesore. Boom, right here, okay. Another point that I think is important to raise as well is that we see how quickly Trump will create a fake crisis in terms of the DC crime epidemic, and will send in National Guard on a fake crisis. But when there was an actual crisis in terms of the January 6th insurrection, notoriously, Trump could not be found to call in the National Guard to assist during the January 6th insurrection, when actual lawmakers were being assaulted and Capitol Police were being assaulted and killed. And also, he then went to go pardon the very same people that attacked DC law enforcement. Trump has brought in the law enforcement and federal agents to disband the Black Lives Matter protest that happened during his first administration, the infamous one where he was holding the Bible incorrectly. And I believe that was the protest in which he was asking his cabinet secretaries if we can shoot protesters in the leg. Yep, and that's all I have for today. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much again for tuning in. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next report. Y'all be good.